I've shot color when I'm out on the street before, and it just doesn't look interesting to me. So I think I'm going to shoot exclusively black and white, unless for some reason I'm really compelled to shoot color again. I'm going to stick to black and white when I do these street with flash photos. And so tonight is 1 year expired T-Max 100, which is a really, I love the blacks in this film. The really, really deep blacks. Son of a bitch. This is like the true test. This is like folding up that reflector thing. If you can get that in your first try, that's the true test if you are a master or just lucky.
So it's been a pretty slow night.
Like I've said in my previous videos, for flash I meter just like direct sunlight, which is box speed. So this is T-Max 100. Some I meter to 100. Not like it makes a huge difference at night, but I set the shutter speed to 30, just like the camera's set, because there is some ambient light here, which I know from previous experience doesn't affect the photos, but it could in some other spot. So what I usually do before I shoot my first shot, just get an idea of the power setting of the flash, is I'll set my meter down the approximate distance I would be to take like a headshot and then just pop off a shot. And so from this distance, it is metering at 2.0. And so 2.0 would actually be, because I'm shooting at 2.4, would actually be perfect for somebody who's really light skinned. Because I want to underexpose by a stop or half a stop if somebody has very pale complexion. I would shoot it at 2.4, or I generally don't go much brighter if somebody has really dark skin. But generally I would shoot it at meter at 2.4 for somebody with like slightly darker than like tan to like black skin. But for somebody with like pale skin, I would keep it at 2.0, even though I have my apertures at 2.4, because I don't want to lose my highlights. All right, so full disclosure, I filmed that little segment last night, hoping to get how I approach people and what I say to get them to stop, and just zero interesting people walked by. So I'm going to show some stuff I've shot over the last couple years. These two are an example of a dream to walk by. I mean, androgynous, interesting looking, gorgeous, and absolute dream to photograph, and I was very grateful for them to walk by. This guy said he was a model in the 80s, and I can kind of see it in his bone structure, but that's what meth will do to you. He was a super nice guy. I mean, just about the most interesting face that you could ever imagine. He was perfectly happy to show his missing teeth and what drug use and alcohol had done to him over the last couple decades. I wouldn't really describe this guy as homeless as much as sort of a vagabond. He was a traveler who just decided to not really have a house and wandered around and made jewelry and seemed to be content to just hitchhike and go from place to place. This was shot on Ektar 100, and I think it was the first time I used it, and I was really blown away by the warm tones of it and how it got such incredible skin tone out of people. This guy was almost non-communicative, not like he was mentally ill, but just extremely antisocial, and I was shocked that I was able to get him to stop. He said, "What do I have to do?" I said, "Absolutely nothing," and had I said anything different, he would have walked away. This guy was the opposite. He came running over to me because he seemed very drawn to me, but then once we started talking about photographing him, he kind of balked a little bit, but then finally agreed. And neither of those guys ever contacted me to get their photos. Kind of bummed me out. This guy, it was funny, he was dressed in sort of a wacky outfit, and when I asked him to take his photos, he said, "See," to his friend, like he proved that he wasn't dressed like an idiot, because his friend clearly was not in support of his bullet boots and wacky outfit. Typical punker with the mohawk, very happy. I think this is on Portrait 400. Here is the super stylish dude. There's actually another photo with his friend, and I only included this one in here, I think. I mean, the colors, you just don't see this in Huntington Beach very often, and I love the new flavor that we got going on around here. This guy is super cool. I mean, rice patty hat, face tattoos, flowy hair. What more could you ask for in a photo subject? Super, super cool guy. He ended up actually following up with me. This guy supposedly was a veteran, maybe from the Navy or something like that, from what I've heard. And he's been around for a long time. And when I told him I had a print of him on my wall, every time I would see him after that, he'd scream, "I'm famous!" This dude, this dude was part of a group. I think there was 2 or 3 of them that I photographed separately that were all together. I really like putting those street lights in the background, shooting at 2.4. This girl was watching me photograph somebody else and seemed very interested, and so I told her to wait 4 or 5 minutes. And it's funny, the guy who I was photographing that she watched me, I fucked up and the flash didn't go off, and so his didn't come out, but hers did. Now this guy claims to be have been a professional surfer in the 80s, but then alcohol sort of sent his life in a spiral. But he has a buddy they're always wrestling down there and drunk and having a good time. This guy, damn it, he was a super good looking guy, and I had him perfectly posed, and then a really beautiful girl came and walked by right at that moment, and he forgot all about me and started talking to her, and I decided to snap the shot anyways. It looks all right, I guess. This guy is part of a drum circle every Sunday, and he actually didn't like this photo. I got this roll rushed, and I showed it to him a few days later, and he didn't seem to like the vibe of it, but I love it. It goes to show everybody sees themselves differently. This kid, this was his very first night homeless, and you can see the look of sort of being lost and desperate on his face. He had no idea where he was going to be the next day or what he was going to do that night. It was kind of sad. It's a fun group of guys all trying to look hard. I think this is one of the first group shots that I've ever taken. I don't take a wide angle lens out with me, so I had to kind of go back pretty far with my 105 to shoot this, and it actually came out pretty good. So I ended up shooting more group shots like this one, and I love this. This is like a typical HB teenage crew, skateboards and looking like they have something to say but really don't. Fun group of kids. Now here you have a black Trump supporter with 2 white Trump supporters all wearing Trump gear, and I specifically told them I want to take this picture to break people's brains. I'm not a political person, but I definitely like people to think. No matter what you think about, thinking is healthy. So there you have it, everybody. Let me know what you think in the comments, and if you have any questions specifically about metering or flash or posing or whatever you have to do, I'd love to hear what you have to say.